I have my own stuff to deal with,
Yes.
so I'm not going to start dealing with his stuff.
Okay, so we're going to work on this some more. Don't talk to him tonight.
No.
So,
Go home and have a bath.
I mean, why should I care for him when, for me, I felt like I was shit?
Yes, yes, okay. Well, that's what you did with it. So you have a need, you're feeling hurt, and you have a need for some support and
Right.
compassion. You need to be understood. This is challenging because it's a decision around your son, and you care about his health and well-being, as your husband also does. And that's where you'd really like to direct the attention. Not about who does what when and when it should have been done and so forth. Right now in this moment, I'm afraid about our son. And the only thing I can think of right now is to pull back his allowance. And I'm not quite sure how effective that will be. I'm not sure if it's going to actually resolve the problem. And I'd really like some input from you about what your thoughts are. What, you know, I'm scared. Tell me how you feel. Well, you know, it's all your fault. You should have, you know, I would have done it a long time ago. You've been supporting his bad habits. Okay. Wait a second, I gotta tune into myself here and be careful about what I do with that language that you just said, because otherwise I'm gonna really freak out. So, I do some inner work. Because I want to remember what he's expressing his needs in a way that makes it very challenging for me to hear them right now. And in fact, it's making me want to kill him non-violently.
Or violently.
Okay. So I need to get clear. So if I'm hearing you accurately, let me see. I'm hearing you say that you're also concerned about him, and also talking to the husband, you're also concerned about him, and that you might have done things. It sounds like you would have done things a bit differently than what I did. Is that what I'm hearing? Well, yeah, that's what I said.
And if there's no answer, like usual, someone make an occasion and I'm stuck in. So then I kill.
Well, you can hold off
Then for
on
sure
that.
there'll be no answer.
At this point, what it becomes the hardest thing, I say the hardest thing about this, whether you're doing NVC or not, I have found that we create a bigger hell for ourselves. You know, let me just tell you, this story is a belligerent samurai warrior approaches a Zen monk and it challenges that Zen monk to speak about heaven and hell. I want you to tell me about heaven and hell and make it clear. And the Zen monk says, get lost, I don't have time for an idiot like you. Get out of here. His very honor attacked, the samurai warrior pulls out his sword and he points it at the Zen monk and he says, I could kill you for your impertinence. And the Zen monk looks at that samurai warrior and he says, that's hell. And he understands in a moment the wisdom in that, and he takes the sword and he replaces it and he bows down and he says, thank you, that is of great help to me. And the Zen monk says, and that's heaven. So every single moment we have that choice to make about what we're going to do with what other people give to us. I won't argue the fact that what he's giving to you and the way in which he's giving it to you makes it very challenging, and it doesn't meet your needs to be heard and understood and for support, which I think are very important needs. And he has those same needs too, and I'm guessing he's probably struggling. And I wouldn't doubt it that there's also the voice that comes up in his head about, I have no idea what to say to her. I don't know. I wish I could be a better husband. I don't know how to talk to her. Every time I open my mouth, it seems to make it worse. I think I'll just shut up. So these are all the different things that are going on inside of human beings that they cannot articulate because it places them in a position of vulnerability and it doesn't feel safe. So it's perfectly understandable from a certain perspective. But I would say that actually, like, in the movie The Peaceful Warrior, if anybody saw that or read the book, there's this one line. To be a warrior is ultimately about vulnerability and nothing else. It takes courage, you know, to come from our heart. Remember, the longest journey you'll ever make is from your head to your heart. Courage, courage. That's where we have to come from. And it takes a great deal. It's much easier, in fact, to say, to put up our walls and say, you're being mean to me, you're being disrespectful. But what that does is actually locks us in even deeper. You notice, see, we do it to ourselves. And it's a tough position to be in, but you hold a key that you do not know you hold. Because otherwise, you know, we have to change him, and I don't know that he wants to come here tomorrow. So you're the one who gets to do it. But I'm not saying it's easy. I will say, though, that the rewards are far better than what you're getting now. So we can come back to it tomorrow. Because your story is everybody's stories. Everybody agrees it's the same story. We all have this. It's maybe happening with somebody else with a different name, you know. It's a child, it's a partner, it's a boss, it's an employee, it's someone we meet on the bus, it's the person who cuts us off in traffic. It's all the same person. But who ends up creating all the suffering is us, with what we do with it. Because life is not fair. It isn't. I haven't seen it be fair. It's just not. It's just giving us what it gives us, and then it's up to us to do what we're going to do with it. There's also a wonderful story too about a grandfather who's talking to his grandson, and I think it's like a Navajo story or a Sioux story, and the grandfather says to his grandson, "There's a big conflict going on inside of me. It's a kind of a war." And the grandson looks at him and says, "What is it, grandfather?" He says, "Well, there are two wolves inside of me. Two very different wolves. One of the wolves is selfish and greedy, uncaring, doesn't inquire into other people. It's just all about him and miserly." The grandson goes, "Yeah, what about the other wolf?" The other wolf is very different. The other wolf is considerate, caring, and generous, and wants to help others, and very, very, very different outlook. And the grandson says, "And so which one wins? Which one wins?" And the grandfather says, "The one I feed. The one I feed. The one I feed." Isn't that the truth? That is the truth. So that's why I say it's easy and it's hard, right? It's so easy, of course, and it's so hard, because that opportunity is being given to us in every moment. And some of those moments are easy, you know, especially when people give us things and we go, "Yeah, thank you, that was wonderful." But then when they give us the other things that are not so easy because they're in pain. I can tell you one thing, an angry person is in pain. If we would take that deeply into consideration, it would change things. An angry person is in